Today, we're going to get into this Ace Bailey situation, and I'm going to tell you guys why I believe that Ace Bailey should actually embrace playing for the Utah Jazz. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and to continue to support my channel. I got to get into this Ace Bailey situation. And look, it's been, the Ace Bailey situation has been talked about for the past few weeks. During the pre-draft process, he was trying to maneuver his way to specific teams, and he didn't want to play for teams like the Philadelphia 76ers, and he didn't want to play for the Charlotte Hornets. There was a report a few weeks ago that, Ace Bailey wanted to play anywhere from Atlanta to New York, basically the down south to east area, so Ace Bailey kind of had his own thing going on. He wants to play for a specific team, he wants to play for a specific location, and look, I get it. Like, I totally get it on Ace Bailey's part, because as an athlete, as a young athlete, and when you're getting drafted, like, you want to be on a team where you can have a bigger role, and I think of Tyrese Halliburton back in 2020. When he was drafted, he didn't want to play for the Atlanta Hawks because the Atlanta Hawks at the time had a bunch of perimeter players: Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, and so Tyrese Halliburton told the Atlanta Hawks front office and the representatives that like I don't want to play for you guys because I don't think I'm going to get playing time. I don't think I'm going to have a bigger role in your team, so don't pick me. And Tyrese Halliburton, he didn't want to play for a few other. I think Cleveland was another team he didn't want to play for, because at that time the Cleveland Cavaliers had Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. And what ultimately happened for Tyrese Halliburton is he got picked by the Sacramento Kings. I think the Kings picked him at like pick 11 or 12 as a result, because that was the team he kind of wanted to play for. And look, obviously he played for the Kings, and then eventually the Kings ended up trading him to the Pacers. And we've seen what Tyrese Halliburton has done to the Pacers. And so that's just one example. We see last year, Alex Sarr didn't want to play for the Hawks because Alex Sarr in his mind felt like, I don't want to play a bigger role. I want to be on a team where I can get a lot of shots and get buckets and do my thing. And so he ended up going to the Wizards. And so and that's just the latest example. And so we see athletes all the time, especially lately, we see these athletes try to have their agent kind of send little threats or not, I don't want to say threats. I think threats is the wrong word, but we see agents kind of like not attend workouts that they have scheduled for them just to kind of get the team thinking that, oh man, he don't want to play for us. And so clearly that was the case with Ace Bailey and his representation. He didn't want to have Ace Bailey going to Philadelphia. And I get it with Philadelphia because Philadelphia, they have Joel Embiid, they have Paul George, they have Tyrese Maxey, they have Quentin Grimes, who I'm sure the Sixers want to resign. They have all of these guards and perimeter players that, like, how am I gonna fit in? How am I gonna get my touches? I don't want to play a role. I want to be the guy. I want to be the man. Like I was a top 3 recruit in high school. I played for McEachern High School in Georgia. Like I want to have my team. I'm the guy. Like and I'm sure that's how Ace Bailey is thinking. And so for me, like, I didn't really have a problem with how Ace Bailey tried to, and his representation tried to kind of maneuver how he tried to maneuver his way to teams like the Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets. Like, I get it. But here's the thing. It didn't work out. And Ace Bailey ended up being selected 5th by the Utah Jazz. And you know what? I'm here to say, I think Ace Bailey getting picked by the Utah Jazz could be the best thing that's ever happened to him. And I'm here to say, and I'm going to give Ace Bailey a little bit of an advice. Ace Bailey, I think you should embrace playing for the Utah Jazz. I get it, and I get it. The Utah is not, look, it's not a great market for athletes. I totally get it. I totally get it. Utah is not a great market. And you know what? I think for Ace Bailey, I think that's a good thing for him. I think Ace Bailey needs to be on a team where there's not a lot of distractions, where he can just work and grind and develop his game, and he don't have to worry about going out to nightclubs. And I'm not saying Ace Bailey is a partier. Like, I don't know the guy. But still, like, if Ace Bailey went to Utah, he wouldn't have to worry about the nightlife stuff. He wouldn't have to worry about, going out and visiting and doing all that other stuff. He could just focus on basketball. And I think in Utah, playing for the Utah Jazz, Ace Bailey has a great opportunity to be the best version of himself, the absolute best version of himself. And when you look at the Utah Jazz, they're not a good team. They need a lot of talent. They're right in the bottom of the barrel in the league. Utah needs talent. And for Utah, I don't blame them for selecting Ace Bailey, despite the fact that maybe Ace Bailey and his representation didn't want him there. If you're the Utah Jazz, you just got to take the best talent available. And Ace Bailey, for all of his flaws per se, he's one of the best talents in this draft. And the Utah Jazz smartly took him. And I think for Ace Bailey, I think he could be a good fit for that team, for that franchise. Ace Bailey has a chance to be a pariah in Utah. If things turn around in Utah in a couple of years, and Ace Bailey is a big part of that, the Utah Jazz fans will love him. They will praise him. They might even build that man a statue up there in Utah without question. And look, when it comes to the Utah Jazz, here's the one thing that you also got to consider. They have a really good coach. Now, look, it hasn't showcased itself when it comes to the win-loss record. But if you look at the Utah Jazz, when they first traded for Lauri Markkanen, the Utah Jazz were kind of frisky at around a time when people didn't expect much from the Utah Jazz. They were competitive. They were in the midst as far as being like a top 8 or 9 seed in the Western Conference for like half of the season back in, I want to say, was it 2022 to 2024? They were kind of frisky a little bit. And then obviously, later on in the year, Utah decided to trade all their guys, and they wanted to tank the rest of the way. And that's kind of all she wrote. But you kind of saw the flashes of how connected of a team that Utah had with Will Hardy as their coach. And you could see how great of a coach Will Hardy is. If you give Will Hardy competent talent, he can make some things work with the Utah Jazz. You look at Lauri Markkanen, who they got when they traded Donovan Mitchell. His first 2 years in Utah, this man was an all-star caliber player. As a matter of fact, he actually made an all-star team one of those years. Had career shooting years. And so if I'm Ace Bailey and I'm looking at, man, if Will Hardy and the Utah Jazz can get Lauri Markkanen to play at an all-star level, considering how they are utilizing him, imagine what they could do with a great talent like Ace Bailey. Like, imagine what Will Hardy can do with Ace Bailey, a highly touted prospect. I'll be honest, I'm pretty intrigued. I'm pretty intrigued to find out. And so I think if you're Ace Bailey, look, man, I'm sure Ace Bailey wanted to play for a franchise like the Wizards. Be in the East DMV area, be closer to home. Like, I'm sure Ace Bailey wanted that. I'm sure he wanted to play for the Brooklyn Nets. This man went to Rutgers, which is in the New York area. Like, I get it. But if you're Ace Bailey, and I know Utah might not be the greatest area, but man, a professional environment with a good coach. And by the way, if you're Ace Bailey, you'll still have your wishes of being the guy, being the man that can take all the shots, being the guy that my team can run my offense through, and just having an opportunity to spread your wings and get out of your comfort zone and work on your game and make mistakes. As a young basketball player, you want to be on a team. If you have aspirations of being a star player, you want to be on a team that whose franchise and their coaching staff can allow you to make mistakes. Take bad shots if you want to make turnovers, miss assignments on defense, because you have an opportunity to learn from that type of stuff. And I think Will Hardy in the Utah Jazz franchise is going to allow Ace Bailey to make those mistakes and allow him to spread his wings and have the ball in his hands more and make plays off the dribble for good or for bad. And I think overall, long term, I think it's going to make Ace Bailey a better player. I think Ace Bailey has a great opportunity to learn and develop and grow for a basketball team like the Utah Jazz. I think it's a great fit for him, honestly. I really do. I think Ace Bailey is perfect for the Utah Jazz. And I think the Utah Jazz is perfect for Ace Bailey. I think it's a great fit. I know people might want to scoff at that because it's the Utah Jazz and they're just boring and irrelevant. I think Ace Bailey landing in the Utah Jazz was a great fit for both parties. I really do. I think it's a great fit for Ace Bailey, and I think he's going to benefit from it. I think Ace Bailey's going to benefit from it. And look, you look at his talent. Look, there's some things about Ace Bailey that's going to frustrate people. I get it. Like, he takes some bad shots. His shot selection is not the greatest. He settles for a lot of contested shots. But look, man, he can make them. He makes some of the craziest shots as you ever see from a pro young player. And so his shot making is through the roof. He's 6'7", 6'8". He's long, athletic, can rebound. He's got to work on his ball handling a little bit. No question about it. The one thing I would love to see from Ace Bailey is I want to see him get to the rack more. I want to see him get to the paint more. Stop settling for these contested jumpers. I think that's the area of his growth, of his game that you want to see him grow in. But he's young. He's 18, 19 years old. So he's a young kid. And look, I was looking at the draft, and when he was selected by the Utah Jazz, I thought he was pretty excited. I thought he was pretty happy. I know throughout the past few days, there's this worry that maybe Ace Bailey wouldn't attend the Utah Jazz practice, the summer league practice, and he wouldn't want to go to Utah because he was, he didn't want to play for the Utah Jazz in the first place and all that stuff. But I'm glad that I think it was yesterday he arrived to the Utah Jazz practice facility and he was practicing and all of that stuff. And so I'm good that kind of got cleared out and that Ace Bailey is going to, practice with the Utah Jazz Summer League team. And I think that's a great thing for him because I think like I said, I think Ace Bailey needs to embrace being a Utah Jazz. I want to see him embrace being the face of the franchise. I want to see him embrace being coached by maybe one of the more underrated coaches in the league in Will Hardy. Like, I want to see that because I think he has a chance to flourish in a low pressure environment like the Utah Jazz. I think it's perfect for him. I think it's perfect for Ace Bailey. I really do. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to perform in Summer League and moving forward. I'm excited to see what Ace Bailey's going to do, man. Look, I got love for my Georgia boys. I got love for my Atlanta athletes. I want them to do well. I want my Atlanta young athletes to do well. I do. And I want Ace Bailey to do well. Despite the criticism that's been heading his way in recent weeks. Like, I want to see Ace Bailey do well. And so, look, man, that's all I have for today, man. And I want to hear y'all thoughts in the comments, man. Y'all agree with me? Y'all think that Ace Bailey should embrace being a Utah Jazz? Or do y'all think he should have went to another team? Or you think he should have just bailed on them or whatever? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But like I said, man, that's all I have for today. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.